Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast. I'm Shafina, joined with the lovely Naseem from Personal Match UK, and this week's topic is influence. So, as we spoke about last week, we spoke about mindset. Okay, we spoke about mindset and the people that we hang around with, and then that led us to influence. And so, I think what we're talking about here is we were talking about we become the average of the people that we hang around with and become influenced by the people that we hang around with. So, how true is this? Is this actually a thing, or is it just something people say? Um, Nassim, would you like to add any tips on a little?
Yeah, so with influence, obviously I'm going to speak about it from like a match perspective or a companion perspective. And I do think that if you're having conversations with someone and you're not able to influence their thought process, then down the line you will have more difficulties in your relationship because you should be a good influence on your partner and vice versa. He should be a good influence on you, and the influence is helps sway your mind. So like you and I, when we speak, whatever relationship it is, friendship, sisters, whatever,
Mm.
you'll think, oh, I've not thought about it that, but you know what, you make a point. So the other person is influenced. If you're not influenced by the person that you're looking to spend the rest of your life with, then when things come up and you want to do certain things in life or have certain ambitions and things and dreams, the other person is not influenced by what you say. Therefore, it could be that you go one way and they go the other way because anything you say doesn't influence them. So I don't know if I'm making sense. You need to be influenced by who. I'm not saying it's going to be 100% everything is going to be you've got a yes and no, so three bags full kind of person. No, but you still need to have some kind of influence in that conversation. Just like a teacher will have with a student, they'll influence their train of thought and maybe what they're learning. So, what about where if it's history, it was, this thing on, this personality or that personality. And however they teach you, that's what comes across. You think, okay, that's what that person's personality was. Why? Because it's not just a book and you're now influenced by the teacher that's teaching you as well. But definitely, I believe in the context of relationship and marriage, yes, you come together, you're not going to know everything about each other. And come time, you're going to grow together, inshallah. But if what the husband says to potential wife falls on deaf ears or vice versa, and then down the line, my opinion is that would just get worse.
That is a really interesting point. I didn't actually think that I never saw it from that perspective before. It's so important because I was taking it from a side of, be careful because you could get influenced by the friends that you hang around with. But definitely you want to be careful, not be careful, but you actually want to be influenced by each other when you're in a relationship, when you have your spouse, because that way you're growing together and not growing apart. I feel that's where things get messed up when you're not influenced by each other, so you end up growing separately. It's like you're on two different bicycles instead of on a cart with the wheels spinning at the same time. Right. I get it. See,
Yeah.
that's amazing. We're learning, learning through the podcast.
It's,
Uh,
it's definitely so. Yes, yeah, so you've got your two sections. You've got your good influence and you've got bad influence. Obviously, like just a mother will say to a child, "Don't hang out with the troublemakers because they will influence you." And again, from the Islamic perspective, you hang out. I'm sure we've used this analogy before. You hang out with the perfume seller, you're going to smell beautiful. If you hang out with the blacksmith, you're going to smell of smoke. So and that's used, obviously, the analogy is smell, but it actually means your
mm.
personality will be beautiful or your personality will not be the best because you're influenced by the crowd, as you said, the four people that you hang out with the most.
It's definitely true. I can say this only because if I can just refer it to a simple habit, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to share this because let's just be open about it. So while I was in Pakistan, obviously the azan was playing all the time, and it was a habit to see everyone saying, "Oh, I'm just going to go do my moons." Moons is prayers in Pashto, I guess. So anyway, prayers. So they were like, "I'm just going to go do moons," and the cook would go for a bit after he's done stuff. He'd go and disappear, and the driver would go disappear, and everyone would just go disappear to their rooms. And even I would disappear. I guess it was just habit. It was easier I mean, for me, I wasn't, I guess, tied with all the busyness that I get here in the UK. Life is very different here, but over there it's a lot more relaxed. I'm not making excuses, but I'm just stating some obvious facts. It's a lot more relaxed, and the lifestyle's made for you to take that time out to do your prayers and things like that. And because I was around that, it influenced me to get more of my prayers in, if that made sense.
Yeah.
Especially the Fajr one, because you cannot miss the azan, which is going around everywhere. You know, you can't not hear it. Alhamdulillah. So, you know, you were up anyway. You couldn't sleep through it at all. So that definitely played a role and an influence in how I was noticing how I've come back. I guess I've had the move and, you know, things have been going on. So the space has been crazy. However, the emphasis on getting prayers done on time and everything hasn't been as great here. And it's the environment's influence and, you know, the lack of influence, I suppose. So definitely I can say it is a true thing. It does play a role. And just looking back in terms of friendships and people that I hung around with in the past, I was on a different path, you know, different influence. You know, you become the average of the people you hang around with. They say the average 4, average 5. I get the number mixed up. Maybe it's the average of 5 people. I know you say 4, but I feel like I had the number 5 in my head. So I feel like, yeah, that there's different phases in life where you've been influenced a certain way, and we've all gone through it. I don't think anyone so much should be judged for it. It's whether you stay in that way or you have the intention to, you know, change that way. We've all gone through different things in life, and yeah, it plays a massive role. But in terms of speaking with regards to the spouse, it's a positive thing if you are influenced by your spouse, I guess, in a positive way. Obviously not you don't want a negative, you don't want something, I don't know, toxic, where the person's shouting and then you get the influence of shouting back. Like if it's not in your nature to do that, and you start to pick up that because you're influenced by it too, then that's not good. But if you're saying, okay, we're working towards this goal and we're gonna you know, not have phones at the table. It's a simple thing, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll take a picture of the food first, but after that, the phone goes down. You know, I don't like the phone. I don't like to be personally speaking, I don't like TV on. I don't like anything like that around when I'm eating. And I feel like it's really important to have that conversation with your family, you know, without noise, if that makes sense. So it's that time to eat and communicate like in a nice way. So yeah, it's a good way that's a positive way of influencing each other to, you know, encourage these kind of habits and behaviors. Then yeah, it plays a great role. So it's interesting because I didn't think that you were going to take it from that topic, that look at that kind of outlook on it. You did this with the mindset as well. When I was saying your mindset, you know, thinking about my mindset and this and that, but and then it's like, oh, the mindset the other way around. Obviously, if you haven't seen the mindset podcast, do check it out. It was the one episode before this one. So yeah, you were going to say something?
Yeah. So in terms of influence, when people are it's just to ask your opinion more than anything else. So when people are surrounding themselves with people that they know that they're going to spend more time with, is it unconscious decision or conscious decision of who they spend time with, do you think? I'm just talking majority of people, not maybe you and I, but just overall, how do you think the world decides like who they're most connected? Because like, for example, recently I've been speaking to a few people and they've said, you know, I really love hanging out with my cousin and that was honest and genuine with me. And maybe they say something's going on, but they'll still tell me as it is. But you know, I always love spending time in their company. They always have like positive vibes and things like that. So whoever it is, whether it's your cousin, your friend, whoever it is, they levitate towards consciously wanting to spend more time with the person. So I'm just interested, and it'd be really, guys, if you want to comment wherever, let us know. Do you think you're influenced by people when you choose people to hang out with or become friends? Is it a conscious effort or does it happen per chance? Like what's your thoughts on that, Shafina?
So yeah, no, thanks for that. So for me, I feel that I'd like to speak from experience. From my experience, I feel like I have quite a little bit of that. A lot of it's done not consciously because you just kind of flow with it and you just make friends and you're not thinking, is this person going to be good for me or bad for me? Is it going to improve my life or not? And I think that comes with experience, learning the hard way, where you later on in life decide to actually that person's not good for me and I don't want to hang around with them. However, before it was just, you just make friends with whoever, not even thinking in I guess relationships as well. You get to know people, you're not even thinking properly, you're not asking the right questions. Hence why this, again, this podcast I love, because we're going to educate each other and teach others that actually, get clear on mindset, get clear on influence, and all these other topics that we've spoken about so far. So for me, I feel like everything was done before without thinking. Moving forward now in my life, I guess it's become a habit now, but I will think, no, this is not good for me. How I feel, like how you say people go and that person makes me feel positive, it makes me feel good, it makes me feel that energy is a real thing. For many years, I used to get shaken up about certain people's energy and I couldn't understand. I just used to be irritated. Something was inside me. I never understood it. Obviously, now times have changed where it's really popular for us to understand energies. Years ago, it wasn't a thing. You'd probably be crazy. What are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. But now we're learning it's a real thing. It's a true thing. And we must channel that and listen to it. It's called intuition. It's been, I don't know if from so much from Islamic perspective on it. I have a lot to learn, always learning, right? However, I know it's a real thing, and I believe it's something that's given to us for us to get that feeling to be like, okay, this is a good thing. I want to hang out with this person. This makes me feel happy. This person makes me feel good. This person brings out the best in me. That's the thing. Sometimes certain people around you can bring out a worse trait in you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's their fault that you're becoming not the best version of yourself. However, pay attention if you're thinking, God, am I crazy? Or because when I hang out with that friend, they're saying I'm fine and, I get along with them and we care for each other. But when I'm around this person is making me feel this way. And then I'm reacting in a horrible way and bringing out a horrible side. So I think it's really important when you're looking at things like that, pay attention if anyone's listening now and you're thinking, oh yeah, that's true, someone makes me feel like that and I feel like this with that person, I feel easier with ease with this person, and I'm kinder as a person, because whether we like it or not, I guess, I mean, mastering your emotions and how you feel is a skill that has to be built. You're not born with it. You learn, and you have to discipline yourself not to get angry, not to do this, not to judge, especially the judge thing. We must really try our best. So for me, I feel like influencing, hanging around people now is more of a conscious thing. I'm more aware of it through life. I'll be like, okay, I can take this much dose of that person, but I can take this much of that person. It's like you balance it out. For even family, you have to keep arm's length with certain people. Just because of your family does not mean you need to spend day and night with that person and you need to choose them over your friends. I'm going to say this, right? This is a deep topic, that just because you're family doesn't mean that this person's better in your life than that person that Allah has connected you with. This other person is not related to you.
Yeah, and just from what I've learned and the lectures I've listened to, the person who has a negative effect on you, or maybe is negative towards you, or makes you feel uncomfortable, or makes you feel uneasy, or not nice about yourself. The what I know, inshallah, if anyone's listening, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that the Rasul said, if someone reaches out to strike you, either that's metaphorically, physically, wherever, the first time you didn't know the slap was coming, but the second time you can put your arm up and protect yourself. So basically, it doesn't matter who you're with. So I listened to a sheikh called Abdur Rahim Murphy, who's based out in Dallas. I listened to his bayans like most Tuesdays. He plays it on Tuesdays. So if anybody out there's listening to this wants to go, and he delivers from a fun perspective, a life experience perspective, but obviously from the Islamic perspective. And he was saying that, look, there will be people that you don't even know sometimes why you don't get on with this person. So give your salams, give your duas, be on your way. You do not have to, oh, look at the time to go. You don't have to be mean to anyone. You just know that that's not your person. For me, I think in life there's only one person I can think of that I've consciously stepped away from, because it took me a long time to figure out, like, why do I feel miserable when I'm with this person? Why am I feeling upset? Why, the kind of the negativity and the the whole kind of conversation around things that were just leading down that path. And I would think, I feel drained when I'm here. And I just, I couldn't figure out, and it took me ages to then have to like go cold turkey and say, right, okay, it's over, I'm done. But you just always, I think, I think when it comes to people that are in your life, you just always want to see the good side. You always want to see the bright side of things. Or you want to excuse and say maybe they're not having a good day, or maybe it's, things are not going great for them. But if things are not going great for them for, weeks and weeks and months, then that's their habit, that's their personality.
You've just said something really interesting. I mean, you've said a lot of interesting things, sorry, but something just hit me. You kind of take, if anyone's listening, sometimes you hear a piece of information and you take it in and you think, whoa, that's hit close to home. So sometimes that happens to me when I'm listening to Naseem talk, and something you said about, that just if it's there for more than weeks and months, it's not, you can't be making excuses for that person. It's probably actually what they are and who they are. Interesting. And also sometimes I feel that person is who and what they are with you. It's not the right fit. Sometimes they're a nice person, they work well, but probably with another person. Does that make sense when the energies match? Because I don't feel, I mean, maybe this is me being naive. I don't like to think anyone is really evil. I feel like a lot of us are misunderstood and we all have different, but deep inside, we all want the same thing. We all want to be happy. We all want to have comfort. We all want to be loved. I mean, who wouldn't want those things, right?
But
You want to feel safe.
that's all comes from a platform of emotional intelligence. There are an awful lot of people that I speak to on a regular basis that I can see a huge lack of emotional intelligence. So they can't read the room. They can't read that person. They'll continue on talking about whatever they're talking about, not realizing the person they're speaking to is very, very upset. They just can't see it. So, or they'll say, "Oh, it's my way or the highway, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that." And sometimes that comes up in my coaching sessions, and I'm like, "So, how do you feel about that?" Or, yeah, okay, that's not good. Maybe I need to. So today I was doing a coaching session. I was saying to the person, I'm just making an observation. I hope you don't mind, but you don't smile very much. And he went, "No, I don't smile very much." And I'm like, "So if you're in a meeting, for example, for a potential match, and you don't smile, and you're just chatting away, you don't smile, then it doesn't matter if you didn't make that person feel comfortable. They didn't feel comfortable. It doesn't matter what you said, but if they didn't feel comfortable in your company, your body language, your smile wasn't welcoming." And that's the reason for someone just to say yes. They probably don't remember any of the conversation, but they'll feed back to me and say, the person was really welcoming. They were very smiley. They made me feel comfortable. So yeah, I'll meet again. So it's taken for granted so much that just having that conscious effort to have that genuine smile come from your heart and make that person feel welcome, no matter what, whether you're going to meet them again, you're not going to meet them again, but having that conscious effort to be a positive influence in that person's life and just make the person feel good. And again, as you said, you've got your fair weather friends, I'll call them. They're around when the sun is shining. When it's the storms are out and it's a blizzard, then they're nowhere to be seen.
I suppose, and I feel the other thing is as well, I feel like it's difficult to be able to be there for everybody. So those friends that are probably nowhere to be seen may be somewhere for someone else during that time. And if we can just have at least one person, then I feel like that's a blessing. Obviously, I mean, I guess I lost expectation a lot for things, and not in a negative way or looking for sympathy way. I just think it's okay. I'm getting skills to do things on my own if I need to, and Allah is always there. So that's the person, or Allah is the only one that can definitely truly understand me. I saw a reel today. I shared it on my stories actually, and it was just saying, the only thing that can really understand you truly deeply, you will not get it from anyone else except for Allah. So that's something that I try to hold on to. There's something else that you said as well. Oh my God, my brain. And what was it about? there's something else I wanted to some other point. I feel like we can talk forever when we go on these. There's so many topics.
So we need to say inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. It'll help you remember.
I know. I'm sure if I watch this recording back, I'll figure it out as well. That you always tell me this, and I always figure it out after, right? I really appreciate it. You put me on the spot. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'll continue on. So the next point I wanted to make was that yeah, I appreciate it. You can't be there for everyone all of the time, but the topic today is influence. So if you can leave somebody where you can be a good influence on that person, whether it's I remember years ago I used to teach at masjid, and the thing was I used to teach prayers. And anytime I taught prayers, it used to make me feel really good because I thought, inshallah, when that person prays, I'll be part of that reward. So it's like looking at what good you can do, give that time on what good you can do, like what can help. So this person couldn't make it to masjid. So then I used to either they used to come to my place or I used to go there and try my best to like teach what I know. And obviously to the best of my ability. So, and with Ramadan coming around the corner, you want to be influencing people in a good way, with like maybe doing iftar or, you're just basically good deeds, trying to do as many work, as many things as you can. There's so many soup kitchens and homeless projects and people with special needs. Like the list is endless where you can go and be a good influence, inshallah. So that's not just in your personal life, but in your life in general. And all of that, those good vibes come back when you put good vibes out there as well, inshallah.
100%. I did see a Instagram post about that. So a few things. I have remembered what I was going to speak about. I'll hold on to that. But with what you just said just now, it's so important. Yeah, because I mean, again with the mindset thing, I was saying it from one way, but then you showed me another way about mindset. So with regards to influence, it's like, okay, I'm going to become the average of the 5 people that I hang around with. However, you yourself can actually be that positive influence and go make a positive influence, represent our, I guess, our faith and our way of being in a better way, and actually go influence others by lending a hand, being kind. Especially, yes, Ramadan is happening. By the time this podcast comes out, it'll be inshallah the next day after. It's so important. Going back to the bit that I forgot and I remember now, it was the emotional intelligence and reading the room. I think I can say that honestly, I've been guilty of not reading the room very well in the past, and I guess it takes a little bit of a deal to understand. I think this is where my growth has come. There's a lot of growth that's happened for me on a personal level. And there have been times where I've not quite reacted in the best way, or not reacted, I suppose didn't really read the room in the best way. And I personally lacked ways of communicating. I can't even say the word now. Lacked the way I would communicate and try, and I guess that's probably made me struggle with being understood. But at the same time, I feel like the situation or whatever lacked the communication skills as well, and so it froze me to not be able to converse in a manner because I wasn't being heard anyway. So obviously I'm guilty of not reading the room properly. Now moving forward, I'm like, okay, let me I think life happens, things happen to you, so you lack certain skills and traits and you kind of lose it a little bit. So if anyone is watching this and you're like, oh, I'm not myself anymore, I've become a certain way, and even the whole toxic thing, that's another story altogether. But certain situations can make you become a certain way, make you become cold, make you become stone-hearted, or whatever you've been through. No one is here to judge, but at the same time, if you can become aware of it and be like, okay, this has happened, how can I undo this, or how can I mend this, or how can I fix this? I don't mean fix where you're at, I mean work on you. So you can become a better person. Okay, we can't make everyone happy, we make mistakes in the past, or we go through situations, but if we can learn from it and inshallah think, okay, I messed up there, Allah is forgiving, let me try and fix it, work on me, and take time to work on that emotional intelligence, or work on whatever area, and then again, going back to influence, become a better version so you can become better influence. And also if we're looking at ourselves, who are we hanging around with? Well, you're also one of those people hanging around with someone else. So you being a good influence on them.
It's
You
a
being in
chain
that,
reaction. Yeah.
yeah. So very interesting points. Like I like when we talk because I've got a different perspective. I'm totally different to you, yet we have a common ground. I was just going to say something else as well. There was another thing I heard somewhere in a podcast. You listen to audios and things like that, and they were just saying make friends of different ages.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned something about ages in mindset as well. It's not just an
Yeah.
age thing. And you can learn so much from different generations, different age groups. And also, age is just a number because it just depends on the experiences that person has had and what they've lived through, what they've been through. Someone can be so much older than us or so much younger than us. And if they're younger, they could have been through more stuff than you. And if they're older, they could have gone
100%
through
believe
less stuff
it.
than
I
you.
believe it. And I come across so many people. Obviously, I interview thousands of people all the time, and I can be quite surprised speaking to someone older, and they're talking to me as if they were like 19, 20, but they're
Yeah.
much older.
Mm,
Or I'm speaking to someone really young, and they've got their head screwed on, and they really know what they're talking about, and they might only be 22, but they really know what's going on in the world, and quite intuitive as people, and have a plan, have a mission, understand different things. So yeah,
mm.
so I think it all sort of rests, Shafina, on emotional intelligence, which is our topic for next time round.
Next time around. Awesome. Well, this has been lovely. If you've enjoyed this episode, let us know in the comments what your thoughts, what are your thoughts on influence? Who's influencing you? Are you spending too much time with certain people that are not healthy for you? Do you notice your energy being changed when you're hanging out with certain people? You get this uncomfortableness inside you. And, it's okay if someone else is comfortable in front of that person, but if you're not comfortable with it, I would highly recommend having a look and maybe taking some time away and focusing where you feel much better, because people that you hang around with do have an influence on you, and that also causes you to be a certain influence as well on how you are with other people. So
Yeah, the chain reaction for sure.
100%, 100%. Well, thank you so much for listening,
Thank
and
you.
thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. Take care.
Take
See you
care.
next time.
Bye.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to listen to this podcast. If you found this beneficial, give this video a like and hit the subscribe button to be notified for the next episode.